Have you ever wished that a cruise ship could sail through the heart of the Canadian Rockies, bringing you face to face with one of nature's most beautiful and awe-inspiring creations?
Yep.
So Glenn has. Well, guess what? Now you can. Sort of. Well, just keep watching and we'll explain how. Hello and welcome to episode 57 of Planet Cruise Weekly with myself, Keith, and him, Glenn.
Hiya.
Between us we have over, I think it's 20 years experience of cruising onboard ships and about another 15 years working shoreside within the industry.
Yep,
so you could say we're a couple of old sailors talking shop.
Yep, and that's why we're talking about trains today. So we know absolutely nothing about this.
That's true, because on this week's Planet Cruise
What a
Weekly,
stupid intro that was.
we're actually talking about
20 years
cruising.
cruise experience, and this is all about trains.
No, we're actually talking about a train journey rather than cruising. But the thing is, the connection
We've all
here-
been on a train, haven't we?
We've all been, yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we've all been on a train.
Yeah.
But you have to cruise to get to the train journey, or you could take a cruise to get to the train journey, or you could do a cruise at the end of the train journey. So there is a connection.
Okay, as long as there's a connection.
In fact, today we're talking about the Rocky Mountaineer, and these trains are rapidly becoming the add-on package to do either before or after your cruise, particularly if you dock in Vancouver or through in Seattle. And it's not really hard to see why it's so popular, because you get a chance to carve your way through the centre of the Canadian Rockies on a luxurious domed roof train.
Now, the Rocky Mountaineer offers the most magnificent way to explore the Canadian Rockies. Pristine wilderness unfolds as you wind along canyons, climb pine-covered slopes, or past the exotic Pacific rainforest. It gives you the opportunity to travel across the spine of Canada to either Vancouver or Seattle before joining your cruise ship for the sailing into the heart of Alaska itself. And it is now the most popular cruise rail combination that we offer.
Now, the Rocky Mountaineer itself sprung into life in 1990 and has grown to become the largest privately owned luxury tourist train company in the world. And over the last 16 years, the Rocky Mountaineer has won a number of awards, including the world's leading travel experience by train 6 times, and also was featured in the BBC's 50 Things to Do Before You Die.
They've also broken their fair share of records, including the largest passenger train in Canadian history twice. The first time with 37 cars, and the second time with a whopping 41 cars.
That is a long train, that really is. Now, the accolades don't just end there though, as they've repeatedly been featured in the top 5 trains in the world by Travel and Leisure magazine, the world's 10 best train journeys by Reader's Digest, and the top 10 North American train trips by National Geographic, no less. So, as you can tell from the reviews, this really isn't a trip that you can afford to miss.
But that's enough about all the awards. What you really want to know is what you can expect when you board these trains, and where do they actually go.
So let's start by firstly talking about what you can expect when you're on board, especially in terms of the service. Well, like most trains, there are different levels of service, but rather than referring to them as first or second class, Rocky Mountaineer prefer to call their service Silverleaf, Goldleaf and Deluxe Golden Leaf service. Now, whichever level you choose, your hosts on board will be world-class professionals who also happen to be fantastic storytellers, and you'll get to listen as they share tales of the local areas that you're travelling through while they serve you gourmet meals.
So we'll start with a Silverleaf service, where you can expect to find custom designed single level domed coaches with oversized windows, perfect for taking in all that incredible scenery. Your accommodation for the night will come in the form of a popular hotel in the area you're visiting, and you'll get delicious hot entree options served at your seat and plated to your preference, along with always nice complimentary beer, wine, spirits and non-alcoholic drinks served throughout your journey, along with some rather tasty gourmet snacks.
Next up, we have Gold Leaf service, where you'll find yourself in 2-level glass domed coaches with full-length windows, and your accommodation here for the night will be in the deluxe level, whatever you're visiting in the sense of location. Plus, you'll find yourself seated in the exclusive dining room on board, which serves beautiful gourmet hot meals and complimentary beverages and snacks, plus access to a large exclusive open-air outdoor viewing area.
Last but not least, for those who really want to spoil themselves, we have Deluxe Gold Leaf service. It's essentially the same as Gold Leaf service, but you'll find that your overnight accommodation is upgraded to the next level throughout your tour.
So, it's great service, similar to what you've come to know and love on board cruise ships. But next, where exactly are we going and what exactly are we going to see? So the first thing to mention is that regardless of the route, you're only ever going to travel on board the train during daylight hours. And that means, of course, that you won't miss any of that spectacular scenery.
There are 4 main routes you can pick from, 3 of which start from Vancouver and the 4th starts from Seattle, but has Vancouver as its first stop. So one way or another, you'll get to see Vancouver.
Now, along with Vancouver, most of the routes visit many of the same highlights and overnight stops, just in a different order and via a slightly different route. So let's now take quickly a look at the major places you're likely to visit.
First of all, we've got Seattle. Now, this is a highly compact downtown core, allows you visitors to easily access the city's best attractions on foot. If your feet need a little vacation as well, just hop on one of Seattle's many vintage trolleys and explore the Seattle Space Needle, International District and the famous Tulip Gardens and Glass exhibit. Once you've worked up an appetite, head to Pioneer Square for fresh oysters and premium Washington wines.
Then next up, you might get a chance to visit Vancouver. And here it's elegant skyscrapers which emerge gracefully from a glittering landscape of oceans and mountains. Now, the former Olympic host city is a hotbed for outdoor enthusiasts, foodies and also walkabouters. So no matter what you choose to do, the coast mountains and the Pacific Ocean surround you, and it's no wonder Vancouver is considered to be one of the best places to live in the entire world.
Then we head on to Banff. Now, whether you're interested in outdoor adventure, prefer soaking in Banff's famous sulphurous hot springs, or simply want to take in the stunning views at the top of the gondola, Banff is the ideal Canadian destination. Located in Canada's first national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Banff offers breathtaking vistas, culinary adventures and thriving wildlife.
Only about 31 miles east of Banff, Lake Louise offers picturesque views so perfect that you might just ask to be pinched. The sparkling blue-green alpine lake is nestled at the foot of the Victoria Glacier, created on an epic backdrop that no matter what time of the day you see it, it just blows your mind. So whether you fancy a surreal summer paddle or a light hike in the Canadian wilderness, Lake Louise will put a sparkle into your step.
Then we head on to Jasper, and it's a great stop for adrenaline seekers and stargazers. The largest of Canada's mountain parks offers unlimited outdoor activities day or night. Dip your toes in the biggest glacier-fed lake in the Rockies, or watch star systems wheeling across the world's second largest dark sky preserve.
You might also get a chance to visit Calgary, which saddles the border between cosmopolitan oasis and cowboy country. So purchase a Stetson and some cowboy boots and wander through the green rolling foothills or explore the city's high-end shopping scene.
Then we go on to Kamloops, and this is known as the meeting place of the North and South Thompson River. Kamloops basks in over 2,000 hours of sunshine per year, making it a prime location for hiking, mountain biking, strolling or slathering on sunscreen and soaking up some rays.
Nestled within a rolling pastoral landscape, Quesnel is a golden nugget of charm, complete with a treasure trove of heritage buildings that will make any visitor a history lover. Wander along the peaceful riverfront trail system and cross the world's longest wooden truss bridge as the sun sets over the river.
Now, Whistler is an absolute must-see mountain paradise, and it's an all-season adventure destination. You can ski, snowboard, kayak, raft, paraglide, cycle, heli hike, or take a zip line through the woods, or simply relax in one of the luxurious spas.
That sounds good. Okay, so now you know the main stops, but what about the routes themselves? So first up, we're going to start with the Coastal Passage route. It's a cross-border route that serves up a creme de la creme of Western Canada and a little bit of America on top.
Lovely. Now, this route, like all others, had a few variations on how much you can see, depending on the length of time you want to spend on board. For example, shorter 6-day routes consist of Seattle, Vancouver, Kamloops and Banff, whereas a longer 10-day would consist of those already mentioned, plus Whistler, Quesnel and Jasper.
So after you've explored Seattle, you'll head up to Vancouver, passing such incredible sights as the Chittenden Lock that links Puget Sound to Lakes Union and Washington. And you'll also travel across the fields at the base of what's called the Cascade Mountains and get a chance to take in the sunset views of Bellingham Bay and the San Juan Islands.
If your tour contains a journey from Vancouver to Kamloops, then you'll find yourself travelling in the heart of British Columbia's interior. You'll witness constantly changing dramatic scenery, from the lush green fields of the Fraser Valley on through forests and winding river canyons, through to the desert-like environment of British Columbia's interior. Now keep your eyes peeled for amazing rushing waters at Hell's Gate in the Fraser Canyon and the steep slopes and rock sheds along the Thompson River.
Now, if you're in Kamloops, you're likely to be heading towards Banff, and on the way you'll be passing through the mighty Canadian Rockies and the province of Alberta, where once again you'll be treated to some truly spectacular scenery. Highlights of this section include the climb over the Rogers Pass, the well-named Kicking Horse Canyon, the spiral tunnels, which are quite disorientating, and of course the glaciers and snow-capped peaks of the Canadian Rockies themselves.
Next up, we're going to take a look at the Rainforest to Gold Rush route. This route sets off from Vancouver and passes through Whistler, Quesnel and ends in Jasper, although there are options available to extend your trip via a coach or car down through Lake Louise, Banff and Calgary. Now this route tends to be either 5 to 9 days depending on whether you take the extended coach or car package.
So as you leave on the first leg of your trip from Vancouver, you're going to pass through the stunning sea to sky corridor as you head to the resort town of Whistler. Now highlights along the way include the spectacular views of North America's southernmost fjord called Howe Sound and the mighty Coast Mountains. You'll also journey past the stunning Brandywine Falls and the impressive Chickamus Canyon.
Heading out from Whistler on your way to Quesnel, you'll enjoy breathtaking and varied scenery from the river canyons and lush farmlands of the Pemberton Valley through to the desert-like conditions of Fraser Canyon. Now the highlights of your journey include the shorelines of the Anderson Lake and the glacier-fed Seton Lake, the sweeping views of Fraser Canyon, which was once home to over 10,000 desperate gold prospectors, and crossing the Deep Creek Bridge, one of the highest railway bridges in the world.
Then finally on this route, as you head out from Quesnel to your final stop of the Jasper National Park, you'll follow the Fraser River north to the town of Prince George before heading east through the forests of northern British Columbia, before finally passing through Yellowhead Pass and into the province of Alberta, and then your final stop, Jasper. Sounds exhausting, doesn't it?
I'm shattered already. Our third itinerary is known as the Journey Through the Clouds, which is as poetic an experience as it sounds, as you witness the unparalleled beauty of the highest peaks in the Canadian Rockies and the remote vistas of Canada's west.
Now you're going to pass through flower-dotted meadows, weeping waterfalls and wildlife-packed mountains as you make your way from Vancouver to Jasper via Kamloops. And we've already mentioned many of the sights that you'll see on your first leg of the trip as it runs from Vancouver to Kamloops through forests, canyons and desert-like areas in British Columbia.
The second leg of your journey, however, leads you up through the Rockies towards Mount Robson and past the 300-foot Pyramid Falls, where glacier-fed water tumbles from the hanging valley into the Thompson River, before climbing up through Yellowhead Pass into Jasper National Park.
Now, Jasper is the end of the line for you, but not the end of your adventure, because there are lots of options available should you want to extend your trip either via coach or via car.
Our final route is actually one of our most popular routes through the Rockies, especially connecting Canada's east and west. The first passage to the west route travels from Vancouver through Kamloops and ends in Banff. Travel through the legendary spiral tunnels and pass by Craigellachie, I hope I said that right, the spot where the last spike on the Canadian Pacific Railway was driven.
Now this is the only passenger rail service on this historic route, and it was celebrated for connecting Canada from the east to the west. You get to traverse the continental divide and be inspired by spectacular mountains, dramatic canyons. And if you're a history buff, this is definitely the route for you.
Some of the highlights include the legendary Cisco crossing, where the CP and CN rail tracks overlap. The Orange Truss Arch Bridge, one of the two bridges, is the largest single-span bridge on the CN line at 812 feet long and a fab photo opportunity.
Now, like the Journey Through the Clouds, this is a shorter train experience which focuses on sightseeing more than longer train journeys, and typically the route is either 5 to 8 days, again depending on how much you want to add in and do. But often on this route you'll only be on the train for actually 3 days, with a couple of days dedicated to the all-important sightseeing once you've reached your journey's end.
Now when people think sightseeing, they assume that just wandering around looking at interesting things, but these are the Rocky Mountains, so it's all a little bit more impressive than that. For example, how do you fancy touring the Athabasca Glacier in a giant 6-wheeled Ice Explorer vehicle?
And this is just one of the add-on options, but whatever you choose, you'll be certain that you'll be met with incredible sights, sounds and nature.
Now, just in case you forgot, we are actually a cruise company, not a train company. So people want to know who actually cruises in this area, and this is how we can package these things up for you. So who can you cruise with to combine a Rocky Mountaineer journey? Well, the big players are here, and definitely Holland America Line, Celebrity and Princess. Plus, it's also possible to cruise with some of the ultra luxury lines like Seabourn, Regent Seven Seas and Oceania cruises in this area as well.
Well, hopefully this has inspired you to join the BBC in adding this to your bucket list of essential things to do. Now, here at Planet Cruise, as Glenn mentioned, we've been working with the Rocky Mountaineer team for many, many years, and we can easily add it into any cruise that docks in Vancouver or Seattle, or even add it in via a flight from another North American city or port. All you need to do is get in touch. And if you do want to find out more information about the Rocky Mountaineer and some of the cruises you can link in with that, click the link there and it will take you through to some of our destination experts such as Glenn. Now, if you want to get in contact, really simple, you can email us at hello@planetcruise.co.uk, comment on this video, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, or of course find us also on Twitter at Planet Cruise. Now, comment time. We had loads of comments once again. We want to say thank you to everyone that does get in touch. Please keep them coming. But we do want to mention Kath Ryan, who's a great friend of the show, who really enjoyed our Arabian cruise special when we talked about cruising around the Arabian Gulf, particularly about the fact that P&O have announced that they're going to be sending one of their ships
based out there,
there,
which would be nice.
Yeah, she's excited about that because the last time she went there, it was with MSC, and of course there was 5 different languages used for every one of the announcements, so she used to kind of forget where the English one was and get a little bit confused. But the interesting thing that Kath talks about as well is the fact that she wore calf-length trousers and a t-shirt, but covered her shoulders, never had any problems with a dress code from anyone, and everyone was super friendly with her when she was walking around. So again, it's a really nice thing to hear, Kath. And the other comment came in from Dave Butler, and I think it was in response to you featuring on the Ideal World cruise show that we do.
We did. We actually featured this question that he's asking now, and basically he's hoping that he's looking at doing a cruise in Alaska and wanted to know, can Princess do a cruise and a Rocky Mountaineer package? Well, hopefully this show's giving him that information. Of course, Princess are one of the big players out there, and then whenever the cruise finishes, we can tag on a Rocky Mountaineer for you.
So, Dave, hopefully you've got all the information you need, but if not, give Glenn a phone. He can give you some more.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for watching. We shall see you soon.
Cheers, guys.